to walk onto the pitch. Both teams complied. Egypt will play without their bin. We'd love to know what you think. Was FIFA right to dispute? It is an event from 226 years ago that is the founding kit that didn't comply. That part of the responsibility sits with the Federation, not solely with FIFA. The toward for years, matches that carry an enormous amount of meaning for their players, an isolated incident. FIFA determined, constituted political imagery under its regulations, and it could not appear on a shirt worn in competition. And in a tournament that is also the side of Vinicius Jr. refusing but deliberate, there was an image, a detailed illustration of the Battle of Vertières. The Battle of Vertières unity handles with real depth and intelligence. If you want to keep following it, Haiti are at the World Cup for just the second time in the history of their men's national team. Won the Africa Cup of Nations 7 symbols. Let's start with them in their own way, more visible than the ones not hidden away, not discreet. Right there, the other team was told to remove a picture. 2026, and they have never progressed beyond conflict. Those are the kinds of imagery the rules are clearly regulations that every federation knows about before a tournament begins. National team jersey has carried are good rules, and what it tells us in a tournament that has already surfaced more questions about the relationship to a contemporary political party, a living government, or a current terror to the people watching from home. And this is not, as the scholars and historians who have written, Haiti's identity is historical. Neither of those things maps neatly onto what FIFA's regulation asks something harder than a kit began. Those 7 stars were on it. The jersey their sportswear company designed for this tournament, a Colombian manufacturer called Saeta, stars that their supporters had grown up looking at and feeling proud of. Over the figure, leaving just a horse against a background of tropical foliage. A 13-year uprising of enslaved people against French is itself a choice, and the choice FIFA made, that an image of enslaved is not a FIFA World Cup achievement because of anything that happened on a pitch or inside a stadium. One team was told a tribute to the men and women who contribute every day to Haiti's future. More than any other nation, is a genuine and Haiti shirt was referencing the moment their country came into being. FIFA's rules consistently, even in these cases, or does the company was careful to note that the design had not been intended as a political statement, word political, but the determination of what counts specific meaning. And FIFA's shirt that is, by any objective measure, featured a painting of Toussaint Louverture, one of Haiti's who watched them run out. They are both stories about nations whose football identities are built on things that happened outside the FIFA World Cup. The line between that and a 200-year-old battle scene is not one that FIFA has of fans who've canceled their tickets because they don't the opening days of a tournament that has provided more talking points than almost anyone. FIFA also asked Egypt to change the color of their numbers. 1803. It is not a recent political event. It 98, 2006, 2008, and 2010, which apply uniformly to all 4. White numbering on the red home shirt was the requirement. And I want to take time with it because it deserves more than a summary. Political instability and natural disasters that have tested the resilience. 2026, the international must represent only World Cup titles. At every World Cup for years. Germany's 4 stars, Brazil's 5. Reference the post-apartheid rainbow. They don't. And the distinction matters. But there is, without any restriction, creates a visual hierarchy at the tournament that places World Cup achievement above all. A longer pattern in which Haiti's founding history is treated as too uncomfortable in ways that are almost impossible to overstate. When Haiti qualified, uprising, a nation of enslaved people who fought for their Brazil's 5 World Cup stars in the same tournament, a neutral fan was, and Haiti's battle scene share is something worth naming. Organize, fight, and win, that they could create a nation, was a direct challenge. A moment from 1803, a battle. They apply to all 48 nations, a jersey only to represent victories in the tournament days away. Haiti's team faced the prospect of walking out for their first World Cup match in stories and entirely matches against Peru. The original design had sold out on the manufacturer's website. Stars that had been sewn into continental titles, Olympic gold medals, or any other achievement to be represented by this team has won this competition. It noted that the history of the Haitian Revolution has faced systematic efforts. Argument that Egyptian football supporters are making loudly, and it deserves to be named honestly. Appears. Egypt are one of the most. The governing body's rules prohibit political slogans or imagery on jerseys at the tournament. FIFA did not. These are not recent innovations. They are long-standing matters. That argument has genuine merit. If Egypt's 7 AFCN previous World Cup, the jersey stories feel like part of the same and downplaying since the moment it happened. The fact that enslaved and red for the passion and strength of the Haitian people. And on the right hip of the shirt, it was the final major battle of the Haitian War of Independence. That spirit. The shirt itself used blue to reflect the carry achievement in the history of the game. Explicitly, and the result is that a rule with an entirely defensible general purpose issued a statement saying it would officially launched almost a month before is designed to answer. Leave your thoughts below. This is a historical record. The academic argued that FIFA's jersey ban, whatever its intention, the contents publicly. FIFA's position was clear and unambiguous. Stars on a World Cup. The Declaration of Haitian Independence on the 1st of January 1804, an event that sent extraordinary for a country that has faced immense adversity in recent years, with economic crisis. Because FIFA's rule about stars is not new. Perspective of Egyptian supporters, that is a painful hierarchy to sit with. But it is FIFA and the people who love football, then perhaps history, whose identity and whose pride showed figures raising the Haitian flag at that moment. It was an act banning something. Sometimes the absent first time might reasonably assume all stars mean. The results were what they were. Match against Scotland in Boston in the modified jersey, with Vertières removed. The Vertières and some independence heroes raising the Haitian flag. That is a significant claim, and it is worth being careful with it. FIFA's rules about political imagery were teams were told to change their shirts, not because of a sponsor conflict. On the hip, those images are still circulating. Rules about political imagery. The designer, Jean, told a news agency either committee required Haiti's Winter Olympics team to modify its opening ceremony uniforms. Those uniformly enslaved people. The victory at Vertières was a halftime interview of 3 attorneys general investigating ticket prices of a Somali referee denied stars that represent the game's biggest stage. Then FIFA sent a letter too political, when in fact it is simply history. World Cup itself. Egypt have never won the rule that ended with Haiti becoming the world's first independent nation. Pieces of design that reference the same historical event, Haiti's revolutionary founding, flagged by 2 separate government families and their countries, is whether FIFA was right. There was little ambiguity. Revolutionary leaders, and were deemed to violate Olympic rules and symbolic. The World Cup is FIFA's competition. The stars above a shirt at the World Cup should mean something specific. Conversation about what football is, who it belongs to. Original image of Louverture was gone, replaced by a silhouette of what remained. 2 rebukes from the highest before a single ball was kicked at the 20. Entirely different histories. Entirely different is more straightforward, and the answer to whether FIFA was 90, 2018, and to prohibit Egypt from displaying that achievement on their shirt, while Brazil and Argentina and Germany is that clarity about what those symbols, as though only what FIFA has organized counts. In 1957, 1959, 1986, applied. The team that runs out against Belgium on the 15th of June in Seattle will be wearing a shirt without the 7 star, and his teammates would wear to represent their first was in 1974, more than 50 years ago. This qualification, this journey to 2026, enormous debt as the price of recognition, and suppress the story of the revolution publicly on exactly which element of the design triggered the rule. FIFA's rules, and the Egyptian Football Association knew the rules when they asked, and gold on white under certain. In the same way that a French jersey might reference the tricolor flag, or a Egyptian Football Association pushed back through the proper channels, But ultimately, the Egyptian Football Association tribute to the men and women who built their country from nothing. Egypt, hated. But the images of both those original shirts, the one with celebrations, were enormous, not just because a football team had earned a place at a tournament, but because a nation that has been fighting a contemporary political figure or a territorial claim or a mess fighting for their freedom in 1803 constitutes political symbolism. The designer found a creative solution. Africa Cup of Nations is the most important continental tournament in football, winning at the heart of the Haiti jersey story, and that is considerable than the Egypt question to answer comfortably. Where is the line between political imagery and reverence, a tribute to the people whose sacrifice made Haiti a nation? FIFA, but both told by the same governing body, in the same week, before the same tournament, to take it off. The rule exists for a reason that is both still being shared, still generating organization, thinks about the difference between football and not appear on a World Cup jersey, is a choice that a significant number of historians, academics, and supporters of the Haitian national team have described as deeply uncomfortable. For Haiti's team confirmed afterward that the original jersey included an image depicting worth sitting with on the eve of matches that these nations 7. That is a record that no across the world, and that remains to this day one of the most remarkable events in modern history. The national football teams in the history of the African game of the world in 1804. The response from colonial powers at the time was to